Now, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our New Hampshire GOP chairman, Wayne McDonald. Wayne, as you know, has been chairman now for all of 14 days.
13 days.
13 days, if you don't...
Who's counting though, right?
It'll be 2 weeks tomorrow. Wayne has been the vice chairman of the party for a number of years now, served under 5 or 6 different chairmen. So he's not a newbie to Republican politics. Very familiar with the workings of the headquarters in Concord. And with that, I'm going to turn this microphone over to him and let him tell you a little bit about what's going on, a little bit more about his background and what his plans are, and certainly an opportunity for you to ask any questions of Wayne. Wayne?
Thanks. Thank you, Alan. Seems like every time I get a promotion, I get invited back to Belknap County. I was here a few months ago when I was doing a brief stint as National Committee Man for 10 weeks, and Frank was kind enough to invite me up to speak. And now I get I succeed to the chairmanship, and Alan brings me in, and so I should have known this was going to happen. There's a consistency here. There's a cycle that it seems to follow. But it's always great to be in Belknap County. Everything you do, and by the way, I don't have to tell you the leadership and the contribution that Alan makes to the party in so many ways. Area 5 Vice Chairman, Chairman of Belknap County, Chairman of BARC, the Barnstead-Alton Committee. There's a joke in Concord at the executive committee meetings that if Alan resigned, that we wouldn't be able to have a quorum anymore because he occupies so many positions within the executive committee. So anyway, thank you, Alan, for everything you've done, everything you're doing. And thank you to all of you, Ginny Forrester, all of the reps in the room, all the county officials in the room, thank you very much. It's great to have a strong party, and we do have a strong party. It's great to raise money, it's great to do all the things we do, but if we don't ultimately win elections and have good people assume office around the state and do what we say we're going to do when we're talking about the campaigns, and that's where it comes to you. Without the stuff you're doing, we wouldn't be successful. So thank you all very much. And I know that the Senate was busy last week, the House is busy today. I'm hearing some good stuff that happened in both sessions. And keep up the good work. That's definitely one message I want to bring tonight, and along with the thanks of the party. But I would make some general comments, and then I'll be happy to get to any questions you have, and you probably do have some. As Alan mentioned, I became chairman last 2 weeks ago tomorrow, September 1st, at an executive committee meeting in Concord at the Gramponi Center. I'm talking about, August was certainly an eventful month for the party. I'm sure you read it. I'm sure it was in the Citizen as it was in various newspapers. And some changes were made. My first full day on the job was September 2nd. And I've been very fortunate. I know there's a lot of good people throughout the state who want to help, and there's been so much outpouring of and offers to help, because so many people are committed to the party, just like you are in this room, that it's been hard to take everybody up on their offer. So if you've made a specific offer, don't let us forget you. It's not that we're ignoring you. It's just that we're trying to channel the manpower or the help. I won't say manpower, but I guess, is that a sexist term in this language? Okay, I'm sorry. It's just so we haven't been able to channel all of the offers of help, and but we certainly want to do that, and don't let us forget you. But anyway, my first full day on the job was September 2nd. Andy Leach, Kelly Ayotte, Senator Ayotte, Congressman Bass, Congressman Ginter have been very kind enough, and their staffs, on their own time, not on federal time, not on taxpayers' time, but on their own time, have been volunteering at the office, keeping things going, and not only that, but trying to, August was a challenging month because the executive director, as you know, was no longer there, and the executive director really does run the day-to-day operations of the party. So they basically went through the draws and everything else. We got cleaned up on a lot of paperwork right from the beginning. They also were able to pull together, and Alan and Jan were instrumental in this, and maybe some of the rest of you. We really accelerated the phone bank effort in the Rockingham County race between Kevin Janvrin and Ryan Mahoney and Brendan Kelly, the Libertarian, and we were very excited that we won that. I'm not suggesting that after 5 days on the job that was my victory. That was a victory for, obviously, first and foremost, the candidate, but also it does reflect well in the party when a Republican wins anywhere. My philosophy has always been when a Republican wins anywhere, we win everywhere. When we lose anywhere, we lose everywhere, because these folks vote, as we know, on legislation that affects all of us, regardless of where they're representing, regardless of where they're elected. So anyway, Jack Kimball and the Chairman Kimball, there had been some mailings done and some other efforts made on behalf of Kevin. I campaigned with Kevin on that Saturday prior to his election. The phone banks were intensified. There was some, Jake Avery, our field director, a great kid. He's provided some much needed stability in the office and worked very hard, not only on this race, but also on the Henny Putter Bar race back in Barrington in August. And he's also working very hard right now with David Simpson out in the Peterborough area, which is coming up this coming Tuesday, as Alan mentioned. So those were the first few days. They were intense, they were focused, and for a variety of reasons, I think they went pretty well. And now, of course, all eyes turn, at least politically for the party, to the September 20th election. All of the seats where resignations have occurred, save one, Mike Brunel's seat in Manchester, because we've got two specials coming up next year after the Peterborough race on Tuesday. 5 out of the 6 vacancies have occurred in Republican seats. Republicans have resigned for whatever reason. So obviously we don't want to have any net losses. We do have 2 right now. We've lost 2, we've won 1. We're optimistic, we're hopeful. You don't know until the last vote is counted, but we're hopeful on Tuesday. Given the efforts that are being made, the phone banks, so we've really redoubled our efforts. B.J. Perry, who many of you know, and who's he hasn't been around as long as me. That's probably in his favor, but he's a very talented guy, and he's actually been working with Jake Avery and helping with the phone banking effort, helping with the mail effort, helping with the opposition research effort against Peter Leishman, who was the Democrat in that district. Many of you have served with Peter. Anybody here want Peter Leishman back in the House? By the way, anybody remember him? I think he just left the House. But anyway, we don't want to see him back. We want to see David Simpson in there. So there's a lot of focus on that race. Talking about finances, I haven't seen the latest account balances, but certainly they're down. August was a very distracting month, and a lot of fundraising, unfortunately, from what Bill Binney tells me, kind of slowed down. We're revving that up on a number of fronts. Alan mentioned the September 26th fundraiser at the Grapponi Center. Governor McDonald, the chairman of the Republican Governors Association, is coming in to headline the event. We're excited about that. He's not only is he the chairman of the Republican Governors Association, not only is he doing a great job in Virginia, but he's also rumored to be on most people's short lists for vice president. So it's going to be a great night, and I hope many of you can attend. I think it'll be well worth your time, and certainly we would appreciate the support. We're re-examining our direct mail effort. We want to, fundraising doesn't occur on one event alone. It doesn't occur on one method alone. We have another event scheduled for October 24th, actually. I keep getting confused because it was originally one date and then we had to change it because of a conflict. But Finance Chairman Bill Binney has donated the use of Wentworth by the Sea Golf Course for the purposes of fundraiser on October 24th, and you'll be hearing more about that as time goes on. But beyond the events, we are continuing with direct mail. We're really pushing our direct solicitation program, both small and large donors, and we expect to be very competitive financially very soon. Staffing, the Senator Ayotte, Congressman Bass, Congressman Ginta have been very generous, as of their staffs, and they're all good people. I know them all well. I've known Andy Leach for years. I've worked with him twice when he's been on staff as the executive director of the party. He was executive director in '06 under Chairman Semprini, and then in 2010 under Chairman Sununu. And we'd love to have him come back. And of course, it's kind of like, it's one of those jobs that executive director is a tough job, and Andy understandably likes a federal job. Isn't that the goal of all of us in politics? But it's a great job. It's one he's earned, and it's one he's very good at. Kelly relies on him heavily, but we'd love to see him come back, and we're delighted he's able to join us for a brief period to help us right the ship, so to speak, and also he'll be involved in training the new executive director. I've been meeting with a number of potential candidates. I'm narrowing my search down. I'm hoping to be able to make a decision within the next week or so. That's my goal, at least. And I'm looking for somebody who knows New Hampshire, is vested in New Hampshire, who cares, as all of us do, about the outcome of the next election, and who's very committed to working with all the activists around the state, and who understands the challenges that everybody, especially at the grassroots, confronts, because that's where I came from. That's where I want them to understand where the challenge is and where the emphasis needs to be placed. So in addition to that, Jake Avery, our field director, is I expect to stay. He seems to be, he's doing very well, and you know, he's staying with us, and we will see about other staffing actions as time goes on and as funding allows. But that in the short term is some of the things we've been doing. Alicia Preston, who has she used to work for WNDS years ago. She did a political show on WNDS, now called WBIN after Bill Binney's, and as Bill Binney now acquired it. But she has a lot of experience in the media field, a lot of experience in press relations. She worked in the State House for Governor Benson. And you know, we're very fortunate that she's been doing a lot of volunteer work for the party, helping us out a lot the last few weeks, and she's going to continue to help us at least for a while longer. Christine Barato, our communications director, is planning to move on. She's still on the payroll right now, but she's planning to move on. We wish her the very best, and we appreciate all the service she's provided to the party over the course of the last several months. Wanted to talk a little bit about the presidential primary. Got a call from John DeStaso today asking me about February 28th, the date that Arizona has set for their primary. Governor Brewer apparently signed the legislation very recently, and because they were talking about moving it up even earlier than February 28th. It doesn't affect New Hampshire in the sense that it's beyond the February 14th date that we're currently planning on, and I say currently because we know how that can change very quickly. We have to be a week under our state law, and also committed to our tradition. It's one of our most prized traditions, but beyond that, it's a law that we have to be 7 days before any other contest. Bill Guide is very good at enforcing it. Legislatures have given him the authority to unilaterally move it as he needs to, and he's very good at doing that. Doing that schedule. The problem with Arizona on 28th isn't a problem directly for New Hampshire, but it does present a challenge to South Carolina. If South Carolina has to be, and I'm not sure of the exact timetable. Interestingly enough, in recent days, the chairman of South Carolina has called me. We haven't connected yet, but I'll be talking to him, and we'll see how this plays out. But they obviously follow New Hampshire, and they're not, they don't want to be too bunched up after us either. So, and we don't know how the Nevada cards are going to play either. So we've got a number of things going on, and it always proves to be a very interesting process. Hopefully we won't have to go all the way back to January 8th like we did last year or 4 years ago. Hopefully we won't be sanctioned by the RNC, which happened 4 years ago, where our delegation was cut in half because we preceded the date that we were allowed to go. Delegates then became honored guests, and as unfortunately the honored guests weren't that honored. They weren't even mentioned in the records of the convention. So anyway, that's a side note. And maybe Governor Romney and Governor Perry and Congressman Paul and everybody can weigh in on this too as we move forward. But we're excited to be hosting the First in the Nation primary. We're delighted to have such a great group of candidates beyond the three that are represented here tonight. Obviously there are others, and we're excited and very proud to have them. See if there's anything else I should be talking about. One thing I wanted to mention also, many of you may have already heard it, but if you came directly here tonight, you may have missed it. In fact, I didn't know it until I started on my trek up here tonight, but apparently Governor Lynch has called a press conference tomorrow. Have all of you heard of that? Indicating that he's going to be announcing his plans for next year. Nobody knows, well, I shouldn't say nobody, but the public generally pretty much does not know what he's going to say. From a Republican standpoint, it'd be wonderful if he announced he's not running.
What about if he's resigning? Who would take his place?
Peter Bragdon.
That's
He's on the president.
Maybe he's resigning.
But obviously, we want that office. That's the one thing that's eluded us for too long. And by the way, it's great to see a county attorney here tonight. I haven't seen one of these meetings for a long time, so it's great to see a county attorney here. So welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So that's pretty much the business of the party, and I'll be glad to take any questions. Alan wanted me to talk about my background. If you read the Concord Monitor, you have a pretty good handle on that. I know Citizen tends to dominate up here, but Concord Monitor did a pretty extensive interview with me last Friday at the office. They wanted, I was waiting for him to ask me what the baby formula was my mother used when I was growing up. They didn't ask that question, but it seems like we covered everything else. We covered, I talked briefly about where I'd gone to school, and then he started asking me about, okay, how did you get into politics? And talked about my first race for delegate to the Republican State Convention in 1976, and then we went on and talked about various other things I'd done from there to town chairman of Londonderry, to county chairman of Rockingham, to area 2 vice chairman for the state committee, vice chairman, of course, under the last few years. Different things, other things I did along the way, like Young Republican state chairman, national committee man, and so forth, and some of the national convention, presidential elector, and so forth. So anyway, I've been very fortunate, very grateful for the opportunities. Obviously, I enjoy this and enjoy working with all of you, and the party means a lot to all of us. And that's why it's done so well, and that's why I believe it's going to continue to do very well. So with that, I'll be glad to take any questions from anyone, and hopefully I'll have an answer or a reasonable facsimile thereof. So.